Well, today I want us to look at an incident that happened in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 7, and I will start reading from verse number 3. And this is what the Bible says. And there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, "Why sit we here until we die? If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die." And they arose up in the twilight to go into the camp of the Assyrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the host of the Syria to hear a noise of chariot and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, "Lo, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us." Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. For when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. In this reading, we are seeing an incident or an event that happened, a historical event during the life of the Israelites. One time they were attacked by the enemy, the Syrians, and the walls of Samaria were surrounded by the army of Syrians. It meant that the people that were inside the city, they could not come out because the enemy was waiting outside to kill them. So it meant that the city was cut off from daily supplies. So there was no food coming in, there was no supplies coming in, and there was nothing going out because everybody was now locked inside the city. And if you read there, you'll get that the famine inside the city was so great that people started cooking their own children to get food because the famine was very severe inside Samaria. But now we had these guys, they called the leprous men. It means they were sick. And leprosy was a disease. When you get it, you are isolated and you only depended on handouts from people for you to survive. So these people, before the famine started, they had already been kept outside the city at the gate, whereby people can pass by and throw some food to them from inside. People that are coming from inside the city can throw them food for them as they went their way. So now, because of the famine that is inside the city, it means that these leprous guys cannot get the food from inside, and that was their only source of survival. So they had 2 problems. One, they are sick, they have been excommunicated, they have been set aside, and now the people who should take care of them, they're already suffering, they're already cooking their own children to eat. So you can imagine that scenario. And so these leprous guys, they were there. They were the only people that were free. They were out of the wall. Otherwise, the rest of the Israelites people, they were inside the walls of Samaria. So a problem that brought them to attention, and they said in their heart that why should we sit here? And they know very well there is no food that will come from inside that city. So why should we sit here until we die? This is what they told each other. And they had the options. They talked about their option. The first option is we go in the city, but the people will kill us. Why? Because we are sick. We are not supposed to be there. We will infect other people with the leprosy. They will kill us. The second option is we sit here, but the conclusion was already done. If we sit here, we are going to die. And the other option was we go to the enemy who does not care about this leprosy thing. Let's go there. And if they kill us, it's okay. But if they spare us also, it's fine. So they took off and they went to the Assyrian camp. That decision made God to multiply, to make their footsteps to be so great that it seems like chariots of horses that are coming to the enemy. So the enemy felt it and they fled. Because as these people walked majestically, they're weak, they're sick. So as they walked slowly, the Lord was magnifying their steps, and it caused an echo, it caused an earthquake wherever they were going. This is what God can do when you decide to make a decision. In life, we have to reach a point and get tired with what we are doing. You don't get stuck somewhere and then remain there. You say, no, I know this has happened, but this I should not be called by my situation. I know I failed exam, yes, but life has to continue. I know I did not pass that exam, that chemistry paper, that physics paper, yes, but life has to continue. I know I'm in an abusive relationship. My husband, my wife is beating me every day. My question is, should you sit there until you die? You need to make a change in your life. You're being abused everywhere. There is poverty everywhere. My question is, should you sit there until you die? You got to decide about your life. Yes, you lost your parents. They're all orphans. But must you sit there until you die? Yes, your husband died and you're a widow. Must you sit there until you die? Yes, you are sick. You don't have enough education. When you look for jobs, everybody's disqualifying you. Must you sit there until you die? This is the question that you should ask yourself. In your life, must you sit in that condition? It means no condition is permanent. You can decide to change that condition. When you face it head on, when you look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, must I sit here until I die? Must I sit here until I die? This is the question. And when you make that decision, you decide to do something. You decide to do something about your life. You decide to do something about your situation. You decide to venture. Start, if it's a business, start from somewhere. You don't need enough, you don't need thousands on thousands of capital for you to start a business. So long as you are tired with your situation. God is looking for people that are tired. People they want change. We've been crying, the government has done this, the government has done this. Should we die blaming the government? Should we die blaming the politicians? Should we die blaming our uncles, our father, our mother, our husband? No, the power to decide and to change life is within you. You can change every situation. I can say you are a product of your decisions. Whatever you decide to become, that is who you become. When you refuse to be poor, you will not be poor. When you refuse to be discriminated just because you did not go to school, just because you're not getting a job, just because you're a graduate and there are no jobs, you get discriminated. No, it is you. You decide, this is what I want to do. I want to ask you, don't sit on that situation until you die. You can rise up and say, enough is enough. I want to change my life. I want to change my destiny. And God will back that decision. Don't sit there until you die. Thank you.